Really?
How long was I sitting there?
Stanley Parable'ın 4. bölümü karşınızdayım. Evet, YouTube için izleyenler şimdiden iyi seyirler. Oyunu sikiyoruz şu an. Bazen
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
İnadım amına koyayım, ben
This was
yapacak bir
not
şey
the
yok.
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door.
Kırmızıdan da geçtik. Biz kırmızıdan geçtik. Neyi dinlemedik? Nerede onu onaylamadık?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ona getirir. Bu sefer ilk de kırmızıdan geçeceğim.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Red door.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Yes, dedim. Geldik.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Aynı yere geldik.
Here, yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Burada olduğum yerde kalacağım. Olduğum yerde kalacağım abi. Olduğum yerde kalayım, bakayım bug'a girecek mi? Hadi abi. Atlayabiliyor muyum? Atlayamıyorum.
No, wait. Where are you going?
Tam uzak duracağım.
Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Duruyorum kanka. Duruyorum abi. Hadi abi. Tam da burada bug'a giriyor ya. Ayağım vurdu. Kamera gitti mi lan acaba? Yok, okey, gitmemiş. Okey. Hiç sıkıntı yok. Tamam, duruyorum. Geri mi gideceğim acaba? Okey.
Good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
Verdim. Söz verdim. Ama beni oyuna at artık hadi. Şimdi burada kalıyoruz. Tamam. Şimdi telefonlu yere gideceğim. Demek ki kırmızı buraya atıyor. Mavi zaten çok uzaklara gidiyor. Mortal oynuyoruz. Gerek yok.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Şöyle yapalım. Sağdan gidelim.
Stanley came to a set
Ama
of two open
telefonu
doors. This was
açalım.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
Nasıl
well.
olur dedim.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yapalım abi.
Stanley felt
Cidden çok
lightheaded,
güzeldi ya.
butterflies in his stomach. Giddy in a way, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Hadi abi.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years
Kapattık
ago.
telefonu. Ne yaptık? Kapattıktan sonra oldu.
Look,
Oyun
Stanley, I
bozuldu.
think perhaps we've
Şimdi
gotten
telefonu
off on the
açacağım.
wrong foot here. I'm not
Buraya
your
girmeyeceğim
enemy,
abi.
really, I'm not. I realize that investing in
Şu
your
aşağıya
trust in
merak
someone
ettim
else
ya.
can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has
kapı
been
var.
about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting,
Hadi abi.
Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Aç şunu.
You need to be the one to...
Ne oldu lan?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right.
Oğlum
Okay,
seslendirme
there
de
we go.
çok iyi ya.
All right, now I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Lan
Gotcha!
Gandırdım.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point
Ya
here, Stanley.
bas git şuna.
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry,
Ah
but you're in
be.
the story now.
Şimdi hikayene mi geldim? Ha başlayalım abi.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ölüyor muyum? Günaydın işçi 400. klavye tarafından Q'ya bas.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that
Şu an adamın
demands
hikayesine
nothing of
geldim.
him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
K.
Look at him there, pushing
Köle miyim
buttons,
ben?
doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now
Gidemiyor.
he's going home. Now he's coming
bu
back
benim
to
odam.
work.
Okay.
One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this
Tamam.
life.
B'ye bas.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Neye basayım? P.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his
Kımıldayamıyorum.
coworkers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly
Demiyorum.
vanished off the face of the earth. The
Demiyorum,
thought
demiyorum.
excited him terribly.
L.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through
Ben
either.
bizi
But
aile
most
gibi böyle bir şeyler
choice.
yaptırdı.
It barely even mattered what lay behind each door.
Benim eşimmişim ha.
Mere thought that his decisions would mean something
Saat kaç?
was almost too wonderful to behold.
Yine mi B'ye bas? 8'e bas.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Wow. 3'e bas.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his
3'e
head...
bastım abi.
He relived it again, and then again, and again, over and
Her-
over, wishing
her
beyond
gün aynı
hope
şeyleri
that it would
yapıyorum.
never end,
Yani-
that he might always feel
Anladım.
this free. Surely there's an
Bence
answer
biz
down
bir
some new
projeyiz abi.
path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Karın olmuş sevdiğini söylemek için 0. Niye 0?
But there is no answer.
Ha,
How could there
o da
possibly be?
odam
In reality, all he's doing is
odama
pushing the
yönlendirmiş.
same buttons he always has.
Kadın
Nothing has
gitti.
changed.
Kadın.
The longer he
Karım
spends
gitti.
here, the more invested he
Eşim
gets,
gitti anasını.
the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Uyumak için L'ye bas.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing
bro.
himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop.
Çıkar beni
watch
buradan.
this.
Hadi.
Stanley, the next time the screen asks
Hadi
you
beni
to
çıkar
push a
buradan.
button, do not do it.
Böyle bir şeye basma dedi ama neye basmadı kaçırdım.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Yine aynı yere geldik.
I suppose I can't. Not in
Hadi
the way I
bro.
want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley.
Stanley'im lan.
We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Lütfen
Stanley
ölme.
pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button.
Niye öleyim
And
kanka?
I
Oğlum oyun gitti. DDoS yedik. Of. Abi. Aa. Telefon çalıyor lan. Nerede telefon? Ha. Bu. Ama dur bir dakika. Önce etrafı gezeyim. Adam yok oğlum. O kapılar var. Okey. Oyun şimdi güzelleşiyor işte. Aynen. Aç şu şeyi. Açamıyorum. Değil mi yoksa? Bu. Aç abi. Açamıyorum. Açmam lazım. Bu değil mi acaba ya? Heh. Buraya tıklanıyor, buraya tıklanmıyor. Really? Bu telefon çalıyor, okey.
Hi Stanley. Just wanted to leave you
Oğlum
a
alt yazı
message.
gitti.
There's a few things I need you to pick up
Alt yazı gitti lan.
on your way home from work today.
Ayarlara da girmek istemiyorum şimdi. Sıkıntı çıkmasın diye ama. Ses abi. Tüm yazılar sadece alt yazı. Tüm yazılarda geri. Okay. Alt yazı gitti lan.
We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I
Sağda,
forgot.
sağda.
Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Evet. Oğlum adamın sesi çıkmıyor. Şimdi adamı dinlesem mi acaba? Soldan mı gitsem? Şu kapı açılıyor mu? Bakayım abi. Şu kapıya nasıl gidebilirim acaba ya? Okey. Şu kapı giriliyor mu? Bak mesela buralar hep yani bilinmedik yerler. Ne acaba nasıl yapılıyor? Ben konuşamadım. Heh.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
Ben
admire
şu an
it.
farklı bir oyundayız ama.
The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Abi sola gireceğim ya, yeter.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Vallahi garip bir yerlere geldik ama.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
Bir şey yok burada.
from here it's,
Sola.
left.
Burada şey mi yapıyorduk? Sola gidip gibi sağa gidiyor. Aha bak
No,
aynen.
it's to the right
Öyle
by
bir şey diyor.
mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see, we went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
What the fuck? Oğlum nereye geldik? Aha, geldik. Geldik mi?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay.
Aynen.
Okay.
Bütün sonları mı gördük? Oğlum. Bir saniye, bir dakika. Oyunda 600 tane mi son var?
How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't want to
Aynen.
so far off track.
Oyunun 600 sonu var.
From the
Wow.
top.
Oyun. Ne oluyor ya?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oraya gelmemem lazımmış herhalde. O zaman şöyle yapalım, aynen. Sağdan gidip soldan direkt düz girelim ya, yeter. Vallahi yoruldum. Yemin ederim yoruldum. Aha. What the fuck?
When Stanley... Wait.
Ne yaptın oğlum oyuna?
What? No, I restarted. I swear.
Başlatmadın
I definitely
kanka.
restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Well, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we
Hayır.
were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move
Hayır.
the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you?
Aynen
I'm the one
kanka,
who read the
sensin.
story.
Orasını
It was right here just a
belledin
minute
oyunu.
ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay,
Hadi bro.
then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Oğlum bütün kapılar açık lan. Anladın oradan. Bunlar aynı odaya çıkıyor. Buradan gitmeyeceğim. Burada hep gittiğim yerler. Orada sağ var. Ne yapalım? Ne bak ya, kafam karıştı. Bir saniye, ne yapsak acaba? Bakayım OBS'e. Aynen, tamam, sıkıntı yok. Abi ben şuradan gitmek istiyorum ya, bak. Şurayı çok merak ediyorum. Ama şu kapı daha hoşuma gidiyor ya. Ben buradan gideceğim.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game
Ne oluyor
again?
ya?
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever
I'm gonna
progress by
go.
starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Ya girmiştim.
All
Oha.
of his co-workers were
Yok,
gone.
ha.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Oyun
missed a
şu an
memo.
ne oluyor oyun hala? Abi kapı yok bu sefer de.
Okay, yep, it's
Kapı
worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the
Ha,
story is
anasını-
back where we just came
Anam.
from. Why don't we go back the other
Adamda bir şey
direction
oldu.
and see if we
Ha,
missed
işte.
anything?
Geri mi döneyim? Oğlum oyun nerelere geldi? Oğlum oyunun kaç sonu var, araştırın.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
Bunu nasıl yapıyorsun abi?
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the
Aynen,
other way
yeah.
and retrace our steps.
Oğlum.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the
Aynen,
story?
hikaye burada değil
I don't
kanka.
think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
Hatırlamıyorum.
Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how
öyle
about
mi?
this? You win! Congratulations! I know you
bitti
put
mi?
in a lot of hard work, and it
Ha,
really paid off.
Leaderboard'da
so
birinci miyim
good
abi?
job.
Hadi.
Oh no, no.
Bana da
I don't
gelmiyor
feel
kanka.
right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people
Ben
win
dürüst
fair and
olayım.
square, and this was not one of those situations.
Tamam.
Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Of. Geldik mi abi buraya? Yani oyunun sonuna yaklaştık sanki.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help
Aynen,
of the
en sevdiğim
Stanley
yer şu an.
Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Abi şu kapılardan girmek istiyorum ya. Aa, monitör açık. Aha. Kapattım. Monitör açık. What the fuck? Boğazıma tükürüm kaçtı. Aa. Ha. Kendi monitörümü kapatayım. Kapanmıyor. Benim monitör kapanmıyor abi. Benim monitör güzel bir monitör. Kapalı. Şimdi aynı yere gidebilir miyim abi? Yoksa gidemez miyiz? Yok, aynen gidemiyormuş. Olmuyormuş. Ah, monitör. soliterde oynamazsın birader ya.
You see, the line knows where the story is.
Rahat yine aynı yere döndü kanka.
Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct?
Oğlum ne oluyor ya?
Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Oyun sonuna az kaldı abi. Nasıl lan? Ne oluyor? Ne oluyor? Finansal kayıtlar, personel dosyaları. Benim yandı ya.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that.
Geri git ve aşk merdiveni mi geldi?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Ya bro, kapıyı kapattın. What? Aynen kanka, kapıyı kapat. Wow. Beynim yandı. Arkadaşlar, bu oyunu oynayacaksanız kahvaltınızı yapıp oynayın.
Wait, what? We're back at the office?
No. Kahvaltınızı iyi yapın abi.
Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Bu aynı yere geldik. Aha. Sağdan gideceğim tekrar. Böyle bol yumurta yiyin abi, protein çok alın.
Still missing the doors. Did we make a mistake following the line? Perhaps we could have found the story on our own.
Ne kızıyorsun bro? Ne kızıyorsun? Aa bak, geldik buraya sonra. Aha.
Oh no, not again, Line. How could
Şu an
you
var ya,
have done
oyun...
this to us? And after we trusted you, after
Bilmiyorum,
everything
oyun
we've
bir
been
şeyler
through,
oldu. Ama altın sonu var galiba. Hayır.
Restart.
Yeniden başlattım. Hı? Çok merak ediyorum.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oyun Artık oyun benim gibi düşünmeye başlıyor. Yani oyun da artık kurallara uymak
Now,
istiyor.
yes, this is exciting.
Good.
Just me and
Sen
Stanley
kapıyı
forging
açtın
a
değil mi
new
şimdi
path,
arkamdan?
a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
Yo, açma.
Go wild. Use your imagination.
Demek ki o da
Whatever it
kafayı
might be,
yedi.
Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Demek ki abi o da kafayı yedi. Aa, yine döngüye girdik. Heh. Oo. Bu nasıl bir manyaklıktır lan? Böyle oyun dizaynı nasıl yapılabilir acaba? Ha. Sadece herhalde görselle alakalı. Yani aslında buraya girdiğim zaman aynı yerde dolaşmıyorum. Yoksa dolaşıyor mu? Baksana abi, aynı yerde dolaşıyorum, bana farklı bir yer açıyor. Oyun nasıl yapıyorlar acaba?
Oh no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any
Bro,
role
senin
in our
oyun
awesome
bozuksa ben
new
ne yapayım
story.
ya?
No lines or monitor
Ben bir
rooms.
şey yapmadım ki.
Just don't acknowledge it. We should be
Ben
fine.
çizgileri izliyorum sadece. Al. Böyle çıkıyor.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't
biz karar
squander the
veririz diyor.
opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn
Şu an koyun
means that
gibiyim
our
ya. Bildiğin her
destination
şeyi yapıyorum.
corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Neler bu?
Oh, hold up, what's this?
He, yaptığımız hatalar.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight
Oha.
times?
Oyunu 8 kere baştan başlatmışız. Yani ölmeden ya da
Determined?
o arıza
So
çıkarmadan
now, according to the schedule,
8
I
kere
restart
tekrar
again.
başlamış
Then
oyun.
what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Yaklaşık 16 dakikadır
Well, what if I don't want
oynuyoruz
to forget?
ve 8 kere
My mind
tekrar
goes
başlatmışız.
blank simply because
Oyun
it's
artık
written here on this
inanılmaz bir
thing,
save'e dönmüş.
wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say
Kanka
in
senin
all
de
this?
şüphen
Is it
var
really?
galiba.
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting.
Ben de
I don't
istemiyorum.
want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped.
Aha.
Does that mean did we do it?
Geri sayım
Did
durdu.
we break the cycle?
Hadi,
The
Kur'an-
whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Aa, burada kaldık diyor galiba.
So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Oha. Oğlum oyun DDoS'ydı. İnşallah sıfırdan başlamadık.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ama adam
Stanley decided to
sıkılmıştır
go to the
lan.
meeting room.
Tekrar
Perhaps he had
konuşmak
simply
lazım.
missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was.
Hayır, şunu da anlamıyorum. Acaba tekrar mı
But
başladık
eager
yoksa
to
oyun
get back to
cidden mi
business,
tekrar başladı?
Stanley
Yani?
took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either.
Hayır, kimse yok. Şimdi
Feeling a
patron
wave
odasına
of
çıkacağım.
disbelief, Stanley decided to
Ama o
go
zaman
up
da
to his
sesimi
boss's
algılamıyor
office.
ya.
Hoping he might, coming to a staircase, Stanley
Aha,
walked
aşağı iniyor.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Cidden aşağı iniyor bu sefer. Oğlum, oyun tekrar başlamamış. Oyun cidden tekrar başlamamış. Sadece tekrarlatmış oyun. Bak, ne dedim ben de bilmiyorum.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange, this can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And when he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control. That this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one.
Benimle kal bro, benimle.
He thought to himself. I'm through with this dream.
Uyuyalım hadi.
I wish it to be over.
Hadi bro,
Let me go back to my job.
Uyut beni hadi.
Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Ekrem İmamoğlu gönderme yapmışlar.
I am okay.
Çalmış Ekrem İmamoğlu.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up.
Oh,
My name
yeah.
is Stanley. I have a boss, I have an office, I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real, I
Oh,
must
yeah.
be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went
Adam
black.
manyak ya.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella kim lan?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed
Aha,
dead on
öldük
the
galiba.
sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone
Benim
knows
kanım
what
yakmıyor.
crazy people look like.
Beynim dağılması
And in
lazım
that
şu an.
moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Ben malım,
And then she
Mariella
told
benden
the
daha mal.
man.
Lan ambulans arasana. Aga bitir oyunu artık, bitir. Oğlum bu oyun niye bitmiyor ya? Ant-Man...
All of his
Allah yeter.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he
Kanka
had
tamam
simply missed a memo.
bitti, yeter. Ben artık sol odadan gireceğim. Tövbe estağfurullah. Oğlum ne oluyor ya? Buralardan giriyor muydum? Aynen.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the
Ulan
door
dur
on
bir
his
dakika, sağa
left.
bakacağım bir saniye ya. Abi ben malım harbiden
This was
ya.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by
Cidden
the
malım.
employee
Soldan
lounge
girip diyorum,
first,
sağdan
just
niye
to
giriyorum
admire
ya?
it. It was okay.
Tamam soldan giriyorum ben.
But eager to get back to business,
Ben
Stanley
merak
took the ettim
burası
first
aynı mı
open
diye
door
de
on his
kontrol
left.
ettim.
And so he detoured through the
Oğlum
maintenance
buraya da
section,
gelince...
walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Bakayım nereye gidiyor. Acaba yeniden mi başlattı ya oyunu?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
Dakika.
hoping he might find an answer
Aşağıya
there.
bakacağım.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Buradan girmeyeceğim. Aynı döngüyü yaşamak istemiyorum ha. Burada da adam beni duymuyor ya.
Stepping into his manager's
Aa, başka yere
office,
geldik lan.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication
What the
of any
way?
human life.
Way.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad
Sabahtan beri
behind the
kımıldamıyor
boss's
oğlum,
desk
yeni fark
guarded
Ne oldu, ne GG kanka? Yok sıkıntı yok, GG oyunu bitiriyoruz.
the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number,
2,
2845.
8,
But of course,
45.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to
Şansa
input the
bala
correct
doğru kodu
code
girmiş
by
zaten.
sheer luck.
Yo kanka sen
Amazing.
söyledin.
He stepped into the newly opened
Tam da kapı
passageway.
açılmadı. Heh. Açıldı. Şifreyle yanlış girecek kadar mal değilim herhalde, değil mi? Yani. Lan. Ha, kayboldum sandım. Oyun bitmiyor ya.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized
Bu nasıl
he felt
bir
a bit
iş yeri?
peculiar.
Yani aşağı
It was
katlara
a
bu nasıl
stirring of
inebiliyor?
emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question
Diyor ki
would not
daha önce
go
niye buralara
unanswered for
gelmedi, bunu düşünmedi diyor. Hani buraların olduğunu bile bilmiyordu falan filan gibisine getiriyor.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Aha. Ne diyorsun kanka? Escape'liyorum abi. Ben escape'liyorum ya. Yeter. Bunu aldım. Yeter. Vallahi bunu aldım.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
O ne lan?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Oğlum bu yolu gitmiyor.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Abi. Kazana mı düşeceğiz? Bak. Mind kontrolle girmek istemedim ya. Nedense. Oo. Hadi be. High five mı ne?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blood.
Oy.
So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
Beyler.
Stanley.
Beyler. İyi lan, anlasın zaten iyi. Ne?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led
Ölme.
helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the
Böyle bir
machine
oyun
crushed
niye
every bone in
yaparsın
his
abi?
body, killing him instantly.
Aha. Karı kurtardı beni. Yine escape'liyim mi lan acaba? Oğlum, karı kurtardı bizi. Aa, bitti galiba.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What
Wow.
exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Bir dakika, sağda solda bir şey var mı acaba? Bence bokunu çıkarmayalım değil mi? Yani bence de bokunu çıkarmaya gerek yok. Yani bence girelim ya. Oh, huzur ya.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the
Biz
moment he hit
ölmüşüz.
start?
De ağlayanımız yok abi. Bu ne abi? 1, 2, 3. Yok biz. Bütün merkez bu. Bakayım. Ne diyor? Harbi bitti oyun lan. Ama acaba şimdi ne yapacağız? 3 ekran var. Aynen 3 ekran var. Bakayım abi. Bu ne? Odalar, planlar, resimler. Bu bizim bilgisayarımız. Stanley'in kompüteri diyor. Şu kapılar açılıyor mu? Bu ne? Raflar. Raflar abi. Failing herhalde depolama herhalde, o dosyalama falan herhalde. Abi sol var, sağ var. Sağda ne var? Sağda o da var. Koridorlar diyor. Saat var diyor. Solda ne var? Underground. Ne diyor? O kim lan? Aa. Adamların konuştuğu yer burası. Oğlum adam öyle bir konuşuyor ki sanki Türkçe konuşuyormuş gibi geliyor. O kadar kasını o adam. Oyun bitti herhalde ya. Bitti. Sanırım bitti. Artık bitmediğini düşünüyor olabilirim ama. Aç. Bak bu ne? Bunu görmedin mi? Heh. Mavi. Mavi. Tamam anladım. Butona basacağım. Hadi. Sarı. Ne oluyor ya? Şu ne? Ne abi ya? Nereye geldik ama? Ne bu?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Özür kalma. Oğlum ne oluyor ya? Abi en son buraya geleceğim ama bir saniye. Bu odayı hatırlıyorum. Ne oluyor lan? Nereye geldik? Ha, dosyalar. Şuradan bir aşağı inelim. Oğlum gittikçe çoğalıyor kapı ya. Not. Bak. Ne diyor? Maraton e-mailleri diyor. Şuna bakayım. Bu ne? Ha süreli. Süre ayarlıyorlar. Bu oyunun herhalde bütün mekanikleri burada. Launch diyor. Okay. Oyun bütün mekanikleri burada aynı. Oyun 2012'de çıkmış. Vay amına. Çok eskiymiş lan. Buton. Abi ana yere döndük. Kaldı aynen ana yere döndük. Şimdi buraya gireceğim. On. Of.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Ha, ne oldu?
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program if they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
Kanka yapma kanka.
You'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time.
Öldük harbi. Kemiklerimiz bıçık oldu. Böyle koyarsın bir tane sinek yapışır ya duvara. Aynı öyle oldu. Ama bana bir credits yaz. Hadi bir şeyler çık. Hadi kanka. Ölmedik mi? Öldük mü? Oğlum oyun siyah oldu lan. Oyun tam manyakçı abi. Bu oyun cidden. Oyun bitti mi lan? Yo. Oyun devam ediyor. Oyun gitti. Oyun gitti bro. Oyun gitti. Oyun gitti. Ne oldu acaba ya? Çok merak ettim. Oyun siyah ekran şu an abi. Cidden mi abi? Q, V, A, B, S, C, E, L, M, B, K, K. Oyun bitti herhalde ya. Oyun bitti. Yayın GG abi. Ama bugünlük bu kadar yeter mi acaba ya? Dedim ara mı versem? Şu an saat kaç? Abi ben bir acıktım ya. Yemek yiyip yayına devam edebilirim. Tamam. Ben ne olduğu anlamadım şu an. Oyun bitti ama oyun bitmedi aynı zamanda. Çok garip. O yüzden YouTube için burada bitireyim abi bu bölümü. Ne oldu anlamadım. Vallahi billahi ne oldu anlamadım. Oyun ilk defa böyle siyah ekranla bittiğini görüyorum. Demek ki çok güzel oyun. Oynayın abi. Oynama 2012 8 yıllık oyun abi. Bu oyunu oynamayan varsa hala 8 yıldır. En azından korsan olarak ya da herhangi Steam'den satın alarak bence alıp oynamalarını tavsiye ediyorum. Çok iyi oyun ya. Ama beyninizi yapıyor. O yüzden güzel güzel yumurtanızı yiyin abi. Sütünüz için öyle oynayın. Ben bak bugün protein almadım. Beynim yandı bak. Abi yeter. Ya beni öyle. Beyjap beni öyle. Çıkıver. Çıkıver. Çıkıver abi. Çıkıver abi çıkıver. Okey. Tamam ben geliyorum. Eren Discord'a gelsene mi kanka? Discord. Kanka bir DC. Kanka bir DC. DC'ye bak. Eren. Orada mısın abi? Ha. Lan. Balon öldü oynuyor. Okay. Tamam abi. Ben ne yapıyorum? Kısa bir ara abi. Ha Ali. Ne yapıyorsun kanka ya?
Kanka,
Ne araştırması?
Vallahi bilmiyorum şey. Aynen.
Piyasa ha. Tamam.
Piyasa.
Oyun nasıl kanka?
Bu sarmadı
Ne?
ya şey daha iyi. Bu
He o
perspektif var
zaten.
ya.
Yok,
O
o değil kanka
sarmadı.
ya. Onu da alacağım ama. Onu da az kaldı. Onu da alacağım. Diğer ay oynayacağım onu da. Ama yani o
Oğlum sen burada adamı
kanka
dinlemiyorsun.
dinlemek istemiyorum ya. İlk başlarda çıldırdım. Zaten anlamışsındır bu o kadar çok küfür etmemden. Bir yerden sonra abi artık adamın şöyle oluyor. Sen hani ne kadar izledin bilmiyorum. Şey oluyor hani bir yerden sonra adamın
Ben
hani bir
başımdaydım.
sesi rahatsız ediyor seni. Çünkü habire konuşuyor susmuyor. Hadi bir siktir git diyorsun hani yeter sal beni diyorsun. Ve oyun da bitmiyor kanka hani bitiyormuş gibi olup da bitmiyor gibi bir oyun. Yani o yüzden ilk baş bak sonlara doğru zaten yolladım yani hiç ağzımı bile açmadım. Ama güzel bir oyun. Şeye göre çok güzel kanka. O perspektif oyunu var ya. O 2018 mi 2019'da mı ne çıktı? Bu oyun 2012 yapımı bir oyun. Hani o döneme göre böyle bir çok işte sonu var, milyon tane sonu var gibi. O herhalde çıkan ilk oyun falan budur. Sonu şey böyle Detroit Become Human gibi çok aynen o tarzda.
O tarzda.
İlk çıkan oyun olabilir yani o tarzda çıkan oyunlardan. Ama cidden güzel. Özellikle şeyi seviyorum ben bu oyunun. Seslendirmesi çok güzel kanka.